being so careful, afraid I'm going to break all of these eyeshadows. Welcome to today's video. We're going to be ranking all of the Colourpop palettes I tried this year. It's a lot, you guys. It's a lot of palettes, and I am excited to do this video with you guys, so let's jump in. Starting out at the beginning of the ranking, I'm going to rank all of these palettes I haven't even gotten a chance to try yet. Colourpop releases so much, and we all know this, but it's like as I'm grabbing all these palettes, I'm like, there's so many palettes that I got from them this year, and even more that I didn't even end up trying, and yeah, so these are all the ones that I've opened so far, but I haven't got a chance to try, so I'm just going to rank them at the bottom for that reason. They are their new color palettes that came out recently, and then also all of these this was the holiday bundle set that they had, and this one came with a bunch of monochromatic little palettes. And then I also didn't get a chance yet to try the Muppets palette, so I wanted to just throw that in here as well because I want to still give these, of course, all of them a try, but I did want to mention them because they did come out this year, but I didn't get a chance to try them. Now let's get into the palettes I actually tried. Coming in at number 26 is the Matte About Hue palette. This one was cute. I liked that it was like a matte, all matte, colorful palette, but I will be honest with you guys, I have not used this since the first time I used it. It's not that I didn't like the palette. I thought it was great. I liked, you know, using all these fun, colorful shades. I just haven't really reached for like colorful mattes like this. It's nice to have in my collection, but if I'm being honest, it's just not something I'm using a ton. And then coming in at number 25, I'm gonna put this newer palette. This is the It's a Small World palette, and I'm just gonna put this here because I did struggle a little bit in that video. Now, mind you, I've only tried this once, so this is my ranking. It's not like full reviews on these palettes by any means. It's just my experience with all of them. Some of these I have only tried once, but this one for me, I just had a little bit of a hard time with. I feel like you can see that in my review of this, and I also feel like the color story just isn't one of my favorite that Colourpop has done. I just feel like it's not really colors I would put together myself. So when I look at this, I am kind of a little confused at which route I should go. So it's just not a favorite color story of mine, and I've actually never seen the movie, don't hate me, but it's nothing I feel a pull towards nostalgic-wise. Then coming in next at 24, I'm going to pull in the Hocus Pocus palette. Again, this is one that I just like didn't feel a really big pull towards. I also was a little bit underwhelmed by the color story in here. I know a lot of people really liked this and they love Hocus Pocus. I'm not the biggest fan of the movie, so for me, again, I didn't feel like a big pull towards this collection, but I feel like when I use this, I liked my look I came up with. I used it a few times actually, but I don't know, I just wasn't digging the color story, and I could just do without this one, so it wasn't a favorite for me. The next palette is actually their newest one, and this one I have, again, only tried once, but I'm going to include it in here because I did try it this year, and I feel like this one could become a favorite of mine. But if you watch my video and my review on this, you'll see that I also struggled a little bit with this, with creating a look, and I, of course, want to try it some more because the color story is absolutely beautiful, but I feel like for the reason that I am not quite sure on this palette yet, I'm going to rank it a little bit lower. Coming in at number 22, we have the Daisy Does It palette. This one was a cute collection. I feel like it's very spring, very fun, and I liked the yellows in this palette, but for me it was just a little bit boring. I feel like it's not something that I have repeatedly reached into, and for that reason it's a little bit higher on the countdown. Next on my Colourpop ranking, I have the Nightmare Before Christmas palette. This one I loved because I love the packaging. I think the movie is super cute, and I did really enjoy this one. I just haven't really reached for it much. I think it's just the tones in here. They're a little bit more moody, a little bit more grungy. I also don't really wear pinks a lot on my eyes, and this has quite a few pinks in there, so I think for that reason I haven't reached for it either, but it was a cute little release. I did like that it had a mirror as well. I thought the packaging was really a great job with this one. Coming in at number 20 is the Lucky Penny palette. This one for me, again, it's just not a color story that I really reach for. I love browns, but this doesn't really have any browns in it per se. It's kind of more just like those orangey, like terracotta shades, and I don't really reach for those a ton, so I've really only used this, again, that one time that I used it in the review, and I haven't reached for it since. And then we are going into the teens now. So at number 19, we have the One and Done palette. This one I thought was cute. Again, it had a nice theme to it. I thought it was a pretty palette, especially for spring. But like I said, I don't really reach for pinks a ton, and there are quite a few pinks in here, although I do really like this color story. I think it's cute. It's just not something I need, you know, a lot of love in my collection. And then at number 18, I have the Darth Vader palette. I know a lot of you really love the Star Wars palettes, myself included. Baby Yoda palette is still like my favorite Colourpop palette ever. This one was nice. I did like it. I have used it quite a few times, if it wants to focus there. I like that it has a red in it, but I just feel like, again, this color story is a little bit more on the moody side, and I don't always reach for those type of shades, although I do have some higher that you guys will see that are a little bit moody, but this one for me, I liked it, but it wasn't my favorite out of all the Star Wars palettes. At number 17, I'm going to put in here the Avatar palette. I really liked this one. and I did used to watch this a little bit as a kid, and I thought this was a great palette. I love how it opens like to the side. It kind of looks like a book. I thought they did a really good job with this entire collection. I thought it was great. I really liked this eyeshadow palette. I loved those blues in there. I really enjoy blues on my eyes, and I thought that those were beautiful on the lid. I love that army green. I thought this was a really great release from them. And then at number 16, we have the Get In Fresh palette. This one was a really great release from them. I thought they did an amazing job with this palette because I love fun, colorful greens. I thought there was quite a few pops of green in here, but you also have a lot of like neutrals. There's beautiful shimmers. You have a few like little duochromes in here. I like that they had a lot of variety in this one, but it was still kind of neutral, and a lot of people I feel like really did enjoy this one as well. I ranked it a little bit higher just because I haven't reached for it as much as some of the other palettes you'll see, but I do really enjoy this release. All right, next we are going to do my top 15. I'm going to pair these ones together, but I really liked this collection. I know not everyone was about it, but I thought it was great. So these are the two that I got. I think there was 4 altogether, but this was the Shell collection, or What the Shell I think it was called. But this is the What's the Shell palette. This is the Shell Shocked palette. But I thought these were nice. I really enjoy when they do these clear pan palettes. I think they're great. I love the little 9 pans. They're perfect size for me. And I thought the palettes performed really nicely on the eyes. And this one in particular, I loved the color story in. I really love when they do like these little like tie-dye pans. I think they do those so well. And this one just has those blues, and it kind of reminds me a little bit of the Mercury Retrograde palette, which I love from Huda Beauty, which is why I feel like this one is ranked a little bit higher because I love it. But I just wanted to include them together because I like these two equally, and I thought it would just take up one spot instead of marking them 1 and 2. This one got pretty high for a new release, but at number 14, this is the Pretty Please palette. I've already used this twice since I did it in my review, and I think it's beautiful. I love it. I love how romantic it is. I think that it's so pretty. I know I said I didn't wear pinks all too often, but the pinks in here are the type of pinks I like to wear. These more like softer ballerina type shades. They're a little bit, you know, not as harsh as some of like these deeper pinks like this, but I think this one is great. I think they did a great job with this one, and it came out right at the right time, just at the end of the year. And at number 13, I have my East High palette, and this one, I feel like if I were looking at color stories, I would probably rank this one quite a bit higher because the color story isn't something I'm necessarily crazy about, but I love High School Musical, so for that reason it went up a little bit higher because it's like my childhood. I love that they did this release. I feel like it just made my heart so happy. I loved the packaging on everything. I thought it was beautiful. I liked the shades, but the color story is just a little bit underwhelming to me. I don't know, it's like not the one that I reach for a bunch, but it just made my heart happy, so I had to include it a little bit higher in the ranking. I feel like we're really getting down there now. This is number 12. This one is called the C3PO palette. I can never remember the name of it. I really like this one, you guys. I thought they did a really good job with it. Again, these Star Wars palettes are really great quality, and I thought this one was beautiful. I love the yellow shades that they chose for it. I really enjoy gold on my eyes. I think it looks really nice on me, so I love a good gold palette, and I like that it had the brown in here. If you saw my review on this one, I did mention that I think it's a dupe for the Honey palette from Urban Decay, so if you've ever wanted to get your hands on that, maybe try this one because I think the shades in there are pretty identical, and it's a fraction of the price. Alright, and then next on my list is this Wild Child palette. I really liked this release, and this one surprised me because it does have a glitter in there, and I'm always someone who's like not a fan of glitters in these palettes, but I really like the glitter in here. I think it's a really beautiful on my eyes. I've used it quite a few times. I love these more like rich shades in here. I thought it was great. You guys will see it's kind of similar to one that's a little bit higher on my countdown that I like a little bit more, but this one is really good too. Coming in at number 10, I have the In the Springs palette. I loved this one. I love blues, and like I said, I really enjoy golds, and I thought this one was beautiful, especially for spring. I thought the shades were so pretty. I also really enjoyed this navy shade. I thought it looked so pretty on the lid. I like that we have some lighter shimmers. I really just thought they did a great job with this one. The packaging on everything was so cute as well. For number 9, this is actually a newer release. This was the CTRL AC Glam palette, and this one was actually a collaboration, and I thought this was beautiful. I really liked this one. I've used it quite a few times now. The reason I like it, I think, so much is for this blue. I think it's so pretty on the lid, and it's a little bit different. I can swatch it for you guys so you can see, but it just has the most beautiful reflect to it, and I feel like it's not really like a lot of blues that I have. I don't know, it's just so striking. I think it's really, really nice. I think it's a beautiful little palette. I like the packaging that she chose as well. And then at number 8, we have the other Star Wars palette. This one I really, really liked from them. I thought they did a great job with this. I don't have a lot of palettes that have reds in it, and this palette had 2 reds, which I did like. I also really, really love these tie-dye shades. I thought they were beautiful on the lid. Again, we've got a couple more blues in here, a black, which they don't often do in their palettes. I don't really even like Star Wars, but this packaging, I just thought they did an amazing, amazing job with this release. And then at number 7, we have the Clay It's Cool palette. I love this one. I feel like it's just so basic. Like, you look at this and you're like, meh, like it's just a basic palette, but it's so pretty and it looks great on the eyes. It kind of reminds me a little bit of the Patrick Ta palette, the Major Dimension palette that everyone loves so much. I feel like it just has like the perfect shades for a neutral lover, and like, it just looks so pretty. The shimmers in here are great. Really, really liked this one. You guys are gonna kill me, but somewhere along the line, I feel like my ranking got like all jibbled up. It's because I decided not to include a few different palettes that I was like, I don't think those came out this year, so I didn't include them. And somehow we made it to my top 4 now. So the last palette was my top 5. I'm sorry. I hate myself for doing this, but I was like, should I restart when I've already said all this? Like, no, I shouldn't restart. So we are officially into my top 4 palettes. So just never mind the numbers. We're off a little bit. Last palette was number 5. Star Wars was number 6. And then let's get into my top 4. And at number 4 is the Troublemaker palette. I love this one. I love this one. I think it is beautiful. I love these like more deeper navy shades. I think they're so pretty. This duochrome in here is absolutely stunning on the lid. That's the kind of pink I like this, you know, barely there type of pink. I think it looks so pretty. I loved this shade as well. I really love a shade like that to just go in with as my first crease shade, and that is perfect. I love that I had an inner corner highlight in here. You had a silver. I really, really liked this one. It came out towards the end of the year, but I thought it was one of my favorite palettes this year. Okay, and for my top 3, surprising, I know, but the Gone Matte palette. This one I got a lot of use out of this year, and it's so basic and so boring, but I love it so much. I really got into matte looks this year, just using plain matte shadows, and this one I reached for a lot. So when I first got this, I was actually going to put it in a giveaway. I wasn't even going to keep it, but I was like, yeah, I'll try it out, but I use this thing all of the time. Even if it's just going into it for a couple of shades, I reach into it a lot. So kind of the opposite of the Colorful Matte palette, this one for me is an everyday palette, and I really, really enjoy it. The other palette that I was actually going to write off that became a favorite palette of mine is the Feeling Bubbly, and this one was again one that I was gonna not get. Like, I was like, I feel like I'll put that in a giveaway. Like, it's kind of neutral, it's kind of boring. It's so good. This is one of my favorite releases that they had this year. It is just stunning. Something about these shimmers in here, you guys, they're so beautiful on the lid. They are just like so shimmery, so pretty. It has the perfect amount of mattes in here to where I can create just an easy everyday type of look. I keep comparing this to the Going Coconuts palette because everyone really enjoyed that one, and I feel like this one is just like the more sophisticated version of that. I really love this gold. I just think it's beautiful. Every time I reach into this one, I love the eye look I come up with, and I love that it's just a small little 9-pan palette. It's really easy to reach into and really easy to use. Okay, a little drum roll. Are you realizing which palette I haven't talked about yet? Cause it's the Not a Box of Chocolate palette. I love this one. I think that this is the best release from them this year. So good in so many ways. I love matte browns. I love warm palettes like this. I just think it is absolutely stunning. I think they killed it with this palette. I love that it has those lighter shades in here. You've got the more like rich browns, like I said, I love. I just think that this is just an everyday palette for me because I do reach for the shades that are in here, like the browns, the golds. I just think it's beautiful. I love the packaging on it. I love that they did like the little hearts in it. Favorite release from them this year. I also love this size palette. I wish they would do more of this size with these smaller pans. I think it's perfect because you get a lot of variety, but it's still nice and small. It's not like huge like these 30-pan palettes. Like, obviously there's more shades in here, but you know, it's kind of just a fraction of the size. It's the perfect size, perfect shadows. And my favorite palette this year from Colourpop. I'm sorry that that got jumbled. I'm like so mad at myself, but it's okay. You guys still got the gist. You still saw the palettes. The numbers were just a little bit mixed up there. But thank you as always for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please comment down below your favorite Colourpop palette this year. I probably have tried way too many of them, I know, but you guys really enjoy my Colourpop videos and I love making them. Thank you guys again for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye, friends.